maybe the future face of Team USA basketball. Because this roster is ridiculous. It's loaded top to bottom. I think it's the most talented top to bottom Team USA team that this country has ever fielded. But not history, but something that hasn't happened in more than a decade is happening right now with Cooper Flagg. And that is a college player was invited to practice with Team USA on the select team to train him. Hasn't happened since 2013, Doug McDermott and Marcus Smart. And Cooper Flagg, he won the day. He made an impression of himself with 18 seconds of viral glory. We have the footage here of what Cooper Flagg did yesterday. And it's a pull-up three over Anthony Davis. He's pretty good. Then he runs back, contests a pass, causes a turnover, gets the rock. How's my play-by-play? Passes it up the court, three-point attempt, miss. That's Cooper Flagg with the putback and the and one over Bam. That is a 17-year-old kid who's committed to Duke playing against all NBA players, the only college player on the court, and he's never even played college ball yet, having this 18-second sequence, three over one of the best defensive players in the league, running back on defense, causing a turnover, getting the ball, looking up the court, looking to dish, then sprinting the length of the court and getting the offensive rebound, put back, and one over one of the, five best defensive players. Bam was all-NBA first-team defense. Put back over him to finish the sequence. Then there was video that came out of a fadeaway, pull-up and a spot-up three. Kid is absolutely ridiculous. And so maybe he's the face of Team USA in the future because it's worth remembering there's only 5 guys in their 20s on this team. It's Tatum. It's Booker. It's Bam Adebayo. It's Anthony Edwards. And it's Tyrese Halliburton. Everyone else, early, mid, and late 30s. This is an old Team USA. The future of USA basketball is very much in question. This kid, Cooper Flagg, looks to be the real deal. And so I'm going to take this opportunity. In the NFL, we had tank for Trevor. We had suck for luck. Capture the flag. That's what Nets fans, Jazz fans, Spurs fans, Pistons fans, you're going to be trying to capture the flag with this tanking, and then you'll hope for lottery luck, and you're going to hope to be able to draft this kid after 1 year at Duke. And he looks to be one hell of a prize. Unbelievable. But I will say, and I don't love myself for saying this, to be honest with you, but Victor Wembanyama has spoiled this a little bit because it's exciting to think, okay, generational player, future face of Team USA, clear-cut number 1 pick in a stacked 2025 draft, going to Duke, high-profile college basketball program, going to be playing on national TV, that sequence that we just showed you. And then I'm watching and I'm like, he's only 6'8". I've seen it before. It's totally unfair. But Wembanyama as a generational prospect, it's the best thing that we've seen since LeBron. What we just saw from Cooper Flagg is incredible in that highlight run. It's incredible given the competition and the variety of skill sets that he showed in 18 seconds. But has he blocked a three-pointer with his feet being in the paint? No. Has he been 7'4" and hit a fadeaway 25-footer? No. Victor Wembanyama kind of changed the calculus of what a player can do in the NBA. And I don't think there's a superlative you could put on that guy that's too much. And I cannot wait to watch him in these upcoming Olympics because the videos of him in the offseason, working with Jamal Crawford on his handle, it's pretty obscene to think about what a player at his size is able to do with his skill set. But, as much as we talk about, wow, there's Giannis and there's Joker and there is Luka and all these international stars and the best players in the NBA and the MVP candidates, they're not American-born. You got Anthony Edwards. You got this guy, Cooper Flagg. You got to feel pretty good still about the future of Team USA when KD, Steph, and, of course, LeBron, who was just voted the best player on Team USA by his peers as he enters his season. Pretty remarkable. But the future of Team USA basketball, the demise may be a little overstated when you see what that 17-year-old kid, Cooper Flagg, is able to do. We have a great show for you today. Tons of NFL. And terrific columnist for the Miami Herald. He's covered the Dolphins for decades. Greg Cody says that Tua is being disrespected, and it's insulting that the Miami Dolphins do not have a contract done with Tua Tagovailoa. And I get it. He has absolutely done more on the field than Trevor Lawrence has statistically, and Trevor beat him to the bag. He got paid first. But Tua is an interesting case, and we can get into the specifics, and we'll talk about other guys. But the macro point here, the one that matters the most to me anyway, is they all get paid. They all get paid. Because it's a have and a have-not league. It is very binary when it comes to quarterbacks in the NFL. You either have a guy that you believe you can win with. You want it to be a guy that you can win because of, and that's certainly a smaller list. But if you have a guy that you think you can win with, and clearly the Dolphins, playoff team last year, Tua led the league in passing, they can win with Tua. You don't really have an alternative. There are more teams than franchise quarterbacks in the NFL. So Tua, he's undersized. He has an injury history, but he played every game last year. Is that something that I can guarantee you is going to be the case for the next 5 years? Of course not. Would I love it if my team gave Tua $250+ million? No. But the alternative to paying Tua is Skylar Thompson. That's the reality of the situation. Like, you either have a guy that's good enough to pay and you pay him, or you don't pay him and 3 or 4 other teams will line up to pay him. The Falcons had Taylor Heineke and Desmond Ridder. They fell all over themselves. They tampered in order to pay Kirk Cousins, 35 years old, $100 million guaranteed, coming off a ruptured Achilles. So Tua, it's 2 weeks until the start of Dolphins training camp today. He'll get paid. Maybe, just maybe, he'll have to go into the 5th year and there will be a franchise tag in the future. Maybe. My guess is he gets that contract extension done to avoid the distraction before training camp starts in a couple of weeks, or at the latest before the regular season begins. But it's not disrespectful or insulting to take your time on these things when they all ultimately end up getting done. And the numbers are so drastic in Miami with Tua and without Tua that they can't afford to take the risk that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Mike McDaniel are good enough where any quarterback could go in, because we've seen it. When it was Teddy Bridgewater or Skylar Thompson, that passer rating fell from over 100 to under 60. The winning record, the 19-12, the playoff appearance, it goes to 1-4. There are, for my money, 2 coaches in the NFL where you could make an argument and you could say, whoever our quarterback is, this coach will get the absolute most out of him. Obviously, it's Andy Reid in Kansas City. Now, they don't have to worry about that because they've got Patrick Mahomes. But you go through Andy Reid's history, Jeff Garcia, Mike Vick, Kevin Cobb, Alex Smith, Donovan McNabb. The best seasons of their career all came with Andy Reid. So it's obviously you're happy to pay Patrick Mahomes. You're happy to pay the most talented quarterback in the history of the position. But in Kansas City, at some point, if Carson Wentz had to play, they could reasonably say, whatever the best version of this Carson Wentz is, we know that Andy Reid is going to get that out of him. So that changes the calculus a little bit as long as they have Andy Reid. And then the other one is San Francisco and Kyle Shanahan, because paying Purdy is a tricky one. He's got Trent Williams, and he's got Debo, and he's got McCaffrey, and he's got Kittle, and for now he has Ayuk. But he also has a coach in Kyle Shanahan that got Matt Ryan an MVP as a coordinator, that got Jimmy Garoppolo to a Super Bowl, that got Brock Purdy into the MVP conversation and winning playoff games and him into a Super Bowl. So if he can get literally the last pick in the draft into a Super Bowl and into the MVP conversation, in San Francisco next year when they have to pay Purdy, they'll have frank discussions. It'll be the owner, the GM, the coach in a room, and they'll be like, all right, Kyle, can you do this with anyone? Be honest with us, because you didn't think you could do it with anyone after Jimmy G traded 3 first-round picks to go up and take a kid who played FCS ball in Trey Lance. But then you did it with the fallback plan of Brock Purdy. Do we need to pay this guy $55 million a year? Or can you do it with next year's Mr. Irrelevant or a first-round pick or a third-round pick or whomever? San Francisco's got an argument not to pay their guy 20% of the salary cap, 15% of the salary cap. They got an argument for that. Kansas City, they're happy to pay Mahomes, but their coach is good enough that there'd be an argument there. Mike McDaniel, love him as a coach, creative, offensive guy, great skill position group in Miami. But the sample isn't huge, but we've seen not anybody can run Miami's offense. Tua can, so he'll get paid. So even though camp is in 2 weeks, it's a little too soon to say it's disrespectful to not pay Tua down in Miami. He'll get the bag. Speaking of a guy who's going to get paid, the story coming out of Team USA practice yesterday, whew,